Captain Marcus Reed stood frozen on the bridge of the UES Defender, his eyes fixed on the massive screens showing the impossible. 12 alien ships, each larger than the biggest human aircraft carrier, had appeared in Earth's orbit just hours ago. They had moved past all of Earth's outer warning systems without triggering a single alarm. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," said Lieutenant Adams, her voice tight with fear. Marcus nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and a figure appeared. It looked almost human, but not quite. Tall and thin, with pale blue skin and eyes too large for its face. It wore what appeared to be some kind of armored suit with symbols Marcus didn't recognize. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am Commander Vex of the Dominion Fleet. Your world is now under our protection and control. Resistance is not advised." Marcus felt his heart pound in his chest. Humanity had wondered about alien life for centuries, and now here they were, not as friends, but as conquerors. "Open a channel," Marcus ordered. "This is Captain Marcus Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We have made no hostile actions against your people. We request peaceful discussion before any claims of control are made." Commander Vex's large eyes blinked slowly. "Discussion is not necessary. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are useless against us." To demonstrate. Without warning, every satellite around Earth went dark. The Defense Force's orbital platforms shut down one by one. On the bridge of the Defender, screens flickered and went black, then came back online. "That was a small display of our capabilities," Vex continued. "We could have just as easily disabled your life support systems. We choose instead to be merciful." Within 24 hours, world leaders gathered in an emergency session of the United Nations. Marcus sat at the back of the room, watching as politicians argued about what to do. Some wanted to fight, but how could they fight an enemy that could shut down their technology with a thought? When the aliens landed in major cities across the world, there was no real resistance. Their ships touched down in New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, and 20 other locations simultaneously. From each ship came troops in advanced armor and strange floating machines that scanned everything they passed. The message was the same everywhere. "We are here as your benefactors. We will elevate humanity to new heights. Cooperation is mandatory." 3 months later, Marcus walked down a street in what used to be downtown Chicago. It was barely recognizable now. Alien structures rose between the old human buildings, sleek towers of black material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Dominion soldiers patrolled everywhere, their weapons humming with energy beyond human understanding. He passed a processing center, one of hundreds set up around the world. A line of humans waited to enter, their faces showing a mix of fear and resignation. Nobody really knew what happened inside. The Dominion claimed they were screening humans for compatibility with advanced education, but those who came out were changed. They moved differently, spoke differently, as if something essential had been taken from them. Marcus had his suspicions about what the aliens really wanted. His friend Dr. Anna Wells had contacted him a week ago, asking to meet in secret. As he approached the abandoned subway station where she waited, he checked twice to make sure he wasn't followed. Anna looked terrible, thin and tired, with dark circles under her eyes. But there was a fire in those eyes that Marcus hadn't seen in anyone since the invasion. "I found something," she said without greeting. "I think I know what they're doing to people in those processing centers." She showed him pictures smuggled out by a resistance member who had worked as a janitor in one of the facilities. The images made Marcus sick. Humans in clear tanks, strange machines attached to their heads, fluid being extracted from their brains. "They're harvesting us," Anna said. "My analysis shows they're taking a specific enzyme from human brain tissue. I think they need it to live longer." "God," Marcus whispered. "How many people know about this?" "Not enough. They control all the major communication networks now, but that's not all I found." Anna leaned closer. "When I was studying the brain samples, I noticed something unusual about human neural patterns. something I don't think the Dominion knows about. She explained her discovery in scientific terms that went over Marcus's head, but the bottom line was clear. There was something unique about human brains that might, just might, give them a chance to fight back. By 6 months after the invasion, the resistance had grown from scattered individuals to an organized network. They operated from abandoned subway tunnels, old bunkers, and remote buildings that the aliens considered too primitive to bother monitoring. Dr. Anna Wells had set up a makeshift lab in what used to be a storage room in an old hospital basement. Working with salvaged equipment and whatever supplies they could steal from Dominion facilities, she was testing her theory about human neural patterns. "It's working," she told Marcus and Jack Torres, a former Army Ranger who now led the resistance cell in Chicago. "Look at this." On a small screen, they watched as a simple Dominion scanner, stolen at great cost, malfunctioned when exposed to a specific frequency pattern generated by a human brain. "I don't get it," Jack said. "What are we seeing?" "Our brains generate electrical patterns," Anna explained. "The Dominion's technology is sensitive to a specific pattern that humans produce naturally, especially when stimulated the right way. It's like feedback between two microphones placed too close together." "Can this actually hurt them?" Marcus asked. Anna shook her head, not directly. "But it can disrupt their technology, and they rely on their technology for everything. Communication, weapons, even their life support systems." Jack leaned forward. "So you're saying we found their weakness?" "Maybe." Anna's eyes were bright with cautious hope. "But we need to figure out how to amplify the effect and deliver it effectively. Right now, one human brain can only disrupt Dominion tech within a few feet. We need more power, more range." As they talked, above them, in what remained of Chicago, more humans were rounded up for processing. Commander Vex stood on the observation deck of his ship, looking down at the city with satisfaction. These humans were perfect, their biology exactly what the Dominion needed to extend their lifespans by decades. And the best part, the primitive creatures had no idea they had anything of value. They thought they were powerless. How wrong they were. Winter had come to Chicago, and with it, new hardships. 6 months after the Dominion's arrival, food was scarce. Heat was a luxury. The aliens didn't care if humans were comfortable. They only cared that humans stayed alive long enough to be processed. Jack Torres watched from the shadows as another group of captured humans was marched into the processing center. These roundups were happening more often now. The Dominion was getting greedy. "How many today?" asked Marcus, who appeared silently beside him. 50, maybe more," Jack replied, "including 3 of our people." Marcus's face hardened. Those who went into the processing centers came out changed. They walked differently, spoke differently. Their eyes looked empty, like something important had been taken from them. Because it had. "We need to move faster," Marcus said. "Anna thinks she's close to a breakthrough." In the underground lab, Dr. Anna Wells hadn't slept in 2 days. Her small team of scientists, those who had escaped the first roundups, worked tirelessly around her. The lab was cold and damp, but no one complained. They all knew what was at stake. "Play it again," Anna said to her assistant, Tom. Tom pressed a button on a salvaged music player. Classical music filled the room. Bach toccata and fugue in D minor. As the powerful notes echoed through the space, Anna watched the readings on her equipment. "There," she pointed excitedly. "Did you see that spike?" The neural patterns displayed on her screen showed unusual activity. When the music hit certain notes, human brains produced specific wave patterns, patterns that created interference with Dominion technology. "It's the music," Anna said. "Something about these specific sound frequencies triggers our brains to produce stronger neural patterns, patterns that disrupt their tech." "So we're what? Going to defeat alien invaders with Bach?" Tom asked, half joking. Anna smiled for the first time in weeks. "It sounds crazy, but yes. Music, something the Dominion considers primitive human entertainment, might be our best weapon. When Jack and Marcus arrived at the lab, Anna explained her discovery. The effect is stronger when multiple people hear the same music at once, she said. It creates a kind of resonance. The more humans, the stronger the effect. How do we use this? Jack asked. We can't exactly hold a concert in the middle of a Dominion base. Anna pulled out a small device that looked like an ordinary earpiece, the kind the Dominion allowed humans to use for basic communication. We modified these, she explained. They play the specific frequencies that trigger the neural response, and they also amplify the brain's output. With one of these, a single person can disrupt Dominion tech within about 50 feet. Marcus picked one up, turning it over in his hand. You're saying we can turn humans into walking jammers? Exactly, Anna nodded. And they won't know what's happening until it's too late. Commander Vex was concerned. Production at the Chicago Processing Center had dropped by 15% in the last week. Equipment malfunctions were becoming common. At first, he assumed it was just the inferior Earth materials they were forced to use for repairs. Now he suspected something else. Increased surveillance in sectors 7 through 12. He ordered his second-in-command. Focus on any unusual human gatherings. Yes, Commander, the officer replied. Also, we've detected unusual communication patterns in the old underground transit system. Should we send a patrol? Vex considered this. No. Place monitoring devices at all known entrances. If the humans are hiding down there, I want to know what they're planning before we move in. Jack led a team of 20 resistance fighters through the abandoned subway tunnels. Each person wore one of Anna's modified earpieces. They had trained for this mission for 2 weeks, but everyone was still nervous. This would be their first real strike against the Dominion. Remember the plan, Jack said. We activate the devices when we're within range of the target. We free as many people as we can from the holding area. Then we get out. Don't try to be heroes. The target was a small Dominion outpost that served as a collection point before people were taken to the main processing center. Intelligence suggested about 30 humans were being held there, guarded by only a handful of Dominion soldiers. As they approached the surface, Jack could feel his heart pounding. Devices on in 3, 2, 1. Now. 20 humans reached up and pressed their earpieces simultaneously. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then they heard it, the distinctive sound of Dominion alarm systems, followed by confused shouting. Jack led the team up to the street level. The scene was exactly what Anna had predicted. The Dominion's energy barriers around the building were flickering. The soldiers' weapons were malfunctioning, showing error lights. Even their communication devices were failing. Move in, Jack ordered. The resistance fighters rushed the building. The Dominion soldiers, unused to their technology failing, were caught completely off guard. Within minutes, the outpost was under human control. Jack found the holding cells and released the captives. We're getting you out of here, he told them. Stay quiet and follow us. As they prepared to retreat, Jack heard a familiar voice call his name. His sister Maria was working with another team of fighters to gather Dominion data devices. Jack, we found something big. Files on all the processing centers and what they're doing there. Grab what you can, but hurry, Jack told her. Their backup systems will kick in soon. They were almost clear when the first reinforcements arrived. 3 Dominion transport vehicles appeared at the end of the street, unloading soldiers. Run, Jack shouted. Back to the tunnels. Most of the group made it, but in the chaos, Jack lost sight of Maria. When he did a head count in the safety of the tunnels, she wasn't there. Where's Maria? He asked desperately. One of the other fighters shook his head. They got her, Jack. I saw them take her. The news of the raid spread quickly through the resistance network. For the first time, humans had successfully attacked a Dominion outpost. More importantly, they now had proof of what was happening in the processing centers. In the lab, Anna examined the stolen Dominion devices. This confirms everything we suspected, she said grimly. They're extracting a compound from human brains, something they call essence, that extends their lifespans. But we hurt them today, Marcus said. We showed they're not invincible. On his private command ship, Commander Vex received the report of the raid with cold fury. How is this possible? He demanded. How could their primitive weapons overcome our technology? Not weapons, sir, his officer replied. Our systems just failed, all at once. Vex's eyes narrowed. Perhaps these humans weren't as simple as the Dominion had assumed. Send a message to the homeworld, he ordered. Request additional security forces, and find out how they did this. In the Resistance base, Jack stared at a photo of himself and Maria. We'll get her back, Marcus promised, putting a hand on his shoulder. Yes, we will, Jack replied. And then we'll make them pay for everything they've done. The Resistance had found humanity's hidden strength. Now they needed to use it before the Dominion discovered how to counter it, and before it was too late for Maria and thousands of other captured humans. The main Resistance base was busier than ever. The successful raid had brought hope, something in short supply since the Dominion arrived. People moved with new purpose through the old subway tunnels that formed their underground headquarters. In her lab, Anna worked tirelessly to improve the neural amplifiers. The current versions worked, but they had limitations. The range was too short, and the batteries only lasted a few hours. We need something stronger, she told Marcus as he brought her a rare cup of coffee. Something that can affect an entire Dominion base at once. You look like you haven't slept in days, Marcus said. Anna gave a tired smile. Sleep is for people who aren't being harvested by aliens. Across the room, Tom was examining the Dominion devices they had stolen during the raid. Anna, you need to see this, he called. The data confirmed their worst fears. The Dominion wasn't just taking humans for the brain enzyme. They were increasing their quotas. According to the files, they planned to process 10,000 humans per week in Chicago alone. They're getting desperate for this essence, Anna said. But why the sudden hurry? The answer came from a new member of the Resistance, a human translator who had worked for the Dominion before escaping. Their soldiers are dying, he explained. Something about Earth's atmosphere is toxic to them over time. They need more of the enzyme to counteract the effects. Jack Torres had been quiet since Maria's capture. Now he spoke up. So they're killing more of us because they're dying faster. Yes, the translator nodded. And it's only going to get worse. In the main processing center, Maria Torres sat in a small cell. She had been questioned for hours about the Resistance, but had revealed nothing. Now she waited, knowing what happened to prisoners here. A guard appeared at her cell door. Time for processing, he said in the flat voice all Dominion soldiers used when speaking to humans. As they led her down a long hallway, Maria noticed something strange. Some of the Dominion systems were glitching, lights flickering, doors opening and closing on their own. The guards seemed concerned, checking their weapons more often than usual. They reached a large room filled with clear tanks. In each tank floated a human, connected to machines that hummed softly. Some were still awake, their eyes wide with fear. Others had already gone through the procedure and stared blankly at nothing. Maria felt terror rise in her throat. Then she noticed something else. One of the machines was sparking. As she watched, it shut down completely. The Dominion technicians rushed to fix it, their movements frantic. What is happening? One guard asked another. Unknown, came the reply. Equipment failures are increasing across all sectors. Maria realized what was happening. The Resistance must be close by, using the neural disruptors. She just needed to stall until they arrived. Jack stood before the Resistance Council, outlining his plan. The information we gathered shows that all processed humans are taken to the central facility before being shipped off-world. That means Maria is there, along with hundreds of others. It's too heavily guarded, someone objected. The small outpost was one thing, but the main facility, it's suicide. Not with this, Anna said, revealing a new device. It was larger than the earpieces, about the size of an old smartphone. This is a neural amplifier, version 2. It can boost the disruptive effect by 10 times. One person wearing this can affect Dominion tech within a quarter mile. And I've made 15 of them, Tom added. Jack nodded. We hit them tonight. A small team goes in, disrupts their systems, and frees as many people as possible, including Maria. Marcus looked concerned. The Dominion will know it's us after this. They'll come at the Resistance with everything they have. Let them come, Jack said. It's time we stopped hiding. Commander Vex was furious. More equipment failures, more delays in meeting quotas, and still no explanation. His superiors on the homeworld were demanding results. Find the source of these malfunctions, he ordered. Increase patrols in all sectors. His second-in-command approached hesitantly. Sir, we've detected unusual energy readings in the old transportation tunnels. It could be human activity. Send a squad immediately. Vex commanded. Use the new shielded equipment. If these humans are using some kind of primitive jamming technology, I want samples. And prisoners. The Resistance team was preparing to leave when the alarm sounded. Dominion forces entering the east tunnels. A lookout shouted. How many? Marcus asked. At least 30 with heavy weapons. And their tech is working. Jack and Marcus exchanged grim looks. They've adapted, Marcus said. We need to evacuate. But what about the mission? What about Maria? Jack demanded. Anna grabbed the neural amplifiers. We'll split up. Most people head to the backup base. A small team continues with the original plan. I'm going after Maria, Jack said firmly. And I'm going with you, Marcus replied. As chaos erupted in the tunnels, with people rushing to escape and fighters moving to hold off the Dominion forces, Anna made a discovery that changed everything. The new amplifiers are having an unexpected effect. She told Jack as they prepared to move out. They're not just disrupting the Dominion's technology, they're disrupting the Dominion themselves. What do you mean? Jack asked. Their biology is partly technological, Anna explained. They use internal systems to survive in our atmosphere. The neural disruption affects those systems too. You're saying our weapon can kill them? Marcus asked. Anna nodded slowly. I think so, but we've never used it at this strength before. I don't know exactly what will happen. Jack checked his weapon. We're about to find out. The night was dark and cold as Jack led a team of 10 toward the main processing facility. Each person carried one of Anna's new amplifiers. They moved carefully through side streets, avoiding Dominion patrols. The massive building loomed ahead, surrounded by energy barriers and guard posts. Dominion ships hovered overhead, their lights sweeping the area. Remember the plan, Jack said quietly. We activate the amplifiers simultaneously. When their systems go down, we move in, find the prisoners, and get out. What about the Dominion guards? Someone asked. If Anna's right, they'll be affected too, Jack replied. But be ready for anything. They took positions around the facility, hiding in the shadows of old buildings. Jack looked at his watch. 3, 2, 1. Now. 10 humans pressed buttons on their amplifiers. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the energy barriers around the facility began to flicker. Lights inside the building dimmed and went out. The hovering ships wobbled in the air. And the Dominion guards began to fall. One by one, the alien soldiers collapsed, clutching at their throats or heads. Some managed to fire their weapons, but the shots went wild, the targeting systems failing. It's working. Marcus shouted. Move in. As they rushed the facility, Jack couldn't believe how effective the amplifiers were. The entire complex was in chaos. Dominion officials ran in confusion, many struggling to breathe as their internal systems failed. In the processing room, Maria watched in amazement as her guards fell to the floor, gasping. The machines connected to the human tanks shut down completely. Then the emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. The door burst open, and Jack rushed in. Maria. Brother and sister embraced briefly. "We need to free everyone," Maria said, pointing to the tanks. As the resistance fighters worked to release the captives, alarms blared throughout the facility. "Dominion reinforcements will be coming," Marcus warned. "We need to move." "Not yet," Jack said, looking at the dozens of confused, frightened people they had rescued. "We need to get everyone out first." Suddenly, the main door to the processing room slid open. Commander Vex stood there, flanked by soldiers wearing what looked like heavy protective suits. "Did you really think we wouldn't adapt to your primitive attack?" Vex asked, his voice cold with hate. "These suits shield us from your disruptive signals." Jack raised his weapon, but one of the soldiers fired first. The energy blast hit Jack in the shoulder, spinning him around. Marcus returned fire, forcing the Dominion soldiers to take cover. "Everyone out the back way," Maria shouted to the freed captives. Now, as chaos erupted around them, the battle for humanity's survival entered a new and deadlier phase. Pain shot through Jack's shoulder as he ducked behind a large processing tank. The Dominion energy weapon had burned right through his jacket. Marcus fired back, forcing Commander Vex and his protected soldiers to take cover. "We need to get these people out," Maria shouted, helping the confused former captives toward the back exit. Jack grimaced through the pain. "The amplifiers aren't working on them. Those suits are blocking the signal." "Then we need a stronger signal," Marcus said, firing another burst at the doorway where the Dominion soldiers were regrouping. Jack reached for his radio. "Anna, do you copy? The amplifiers aren't affecting soldiers with protective suits. We need options." Anna's voice crackled over the radio. "Increase the power to maximum. All of you at once. It might overload their shielding." The resistance fighters each adjusted their amplifiers. "On my mark," Jack called. 3, 2, 1. Now. 10 amplifiers surged to maximum power. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Every electronic system in the building failed completely. Even the emergency lights went out, plunging the facility into darkness. From the doorway came sounds of struggling and gasping. When Marcus managed to activate a small flashlight, they saw Commander Vex and his soldiers on their knees. Their protective suits were sparking and smoking. Some soldiers lay completely still, while others clawed at their helmets, desperate for air. Vex looked up, his large eyes filled with hatred, and for the first time, fear. "What have you done?" he gasped. Jack didn't answer. "Everyone move out now. Head for the evacuation point." As the resistance fighters led the freed captives out through the back of the facility, Jack looked back one last time. Commander Vex had stopped moving, his body slumped against the wall. Whether he was dead or just unconscious, Jack couldn't tell. 3 days later, the resistance base was buzzing with activity. The successful raid on the main processing facility had dealt a serious blow to the Dominion. More importantly, it had shown that humans could fight back effectively. In the command center, a repurposed subway station platform, Marcus studied the maps spread across a table. Reports were coming in from resistance cells all over the world. The neural amplifier technology had been shared, and similar raids were being planned globally. Jack entered, his arm in a makeshift sling. "How's Anna doing with the broadcast system?" "Almost ready," Marcus replied. "If it works, we can transmit the neural disruption signal to every radio and speaker in the city. And if every human hears it at once, every piece of Dominion tech in Chicago will fail," Marcus finished. Maria joined them, bringing cups of hot coffee, a luxury since the Dominion's arrival, but resistance raids had secured some supplies. "The people we rescued are starting to recover," she reported. Some remembered everything that happened to them. The Dominion was extracting the enzyme, but keeping most people alive for repeated harvesting. Jack's face hardened. "That ends now. Today we take back Chicago. Tomorrow, the world." On his flagship high above the city, Acting Commander Loran reviewed the damage reports with growing concern. Vex was dead, along with a dozen other high-ranking officers. The main processing facility was crippled. Production had fallen to critical levels. Our protective suits failed, a science officer explained. The human disruption technology was stronger than we anticipated. How is this possible? Luren demanded. They are a primitive species. Not as primitive as we thought, the science officer replied cautiously. Their neural patterns are unique, unlike anything we've encountered before, and they found a way to weaponize them. Luren paced the command deck. Accelerate the harvesting schedule. I want all remaining humans in this region processed within 2 days. No exceptions. Sir, that would mean. I know what it means, Luren snapped. Total extraction. No survivors. The humans have forced our hand. When the next shipment of processing equipment arrives from the homeworld, we move to the next region. Yes, Commander. And what about the resistance? Luren's eyes narrowed. Find their base and destroy it. Use orbital weapons if necessary. In her underground lab, Anna made the final adjustments to the broadcast system. It was a complex setup that would hijack the city's remaining radio towers and emergency broadcast systems. The neural disruption signal, embedded in Bach's toccata and fugue in D minor, would play simultaneously across the entire city. It's ready, she told Tom. But I found something else. She pointed to data on her screen. The latest tests show prolonged exposure to the disruption signal is fatal to the Dominion. Not just disruptive, deadly. Tom looked troubled. So we're not just disabling their tech now. We're killing them. They've been killing us for months, Anna replied, though her voice lacked conviction. She had become a scientist to save lives, not take them. Jack and Marcus entered the lab. Is it ready? Jack asked. Anna nodded. Yes, but there's something you should know. She explained her discovery about the lethal effects of prolonged exposure. Marcus looked at Jack. This changes things. We're talking about an all-out attack now, not just a defensive measure. Jack was silent for a moment, remembering the processing facility, the humans floating in tanks, their lives being drained away. They didn't give us a choice, he said finally. This is survival. At noon, resistance fighters took positions around the city. Each carried a small radio tuned to the resistance frequency. Their mission was simple but crucial. When the neural disruption began, they would help civilians reach safety and target any Dominion forces not affected by the signal. In Dominion bases across Chicago, alien soldiers prepared for their final push to round up the remaining humans. Luren had ordered all-out efforts, with no concern for keeping the harvesting secret anymore. Speed was all that mattered now. In the Resistance Command Center, Anna sat at the broadcast controls. Ready whenever you are, she told Jack. Jack looked at the faces around him. Marcus, Maria, Tom, and dozens of others who had fought against impossible odds. Send it, he said. Anna pressed the button. Across Chicago, every working speaker, radio, and communication device began playing Bach's powerful music. The effect was immediate. Dominion ships hovering above the city wobbled in the air, some crashing into buildings. Energy barriers around alien facilities flickered and died. Weapons systems failed, and the Dominion soldiers began to fall. Luren was in mid-sentence when the music started playing through the flagship's communication system. What is that noise? He demanded. Then pain shot through his head as his internal breathing apparatus failed. Around him, the command crew collapsed one by one. With his last strength, Luren activated the emergency distress beacon. As darkness closed in, he sent one final message to the Dominion homeworld. Humans, more dangerous than we knew. Avoid Earth at all costs. On the streets of Chicago, humans emerged from hiding places to see Dominion soldiers and officials lying motionless. The massive alien ships hung dead in the air, their engines silent. After months of fear and helplessness, the city belonged to humanity again. But the war was far from over. The Dominion had bases all over the world, and reinforcements were surely on the way from their homeworld. The Resistance would need to move quickly to spread the technology and prepare for what came next. As Bach's music continued to play across the city, Jack looked at the sky where the Dominion ships had once moved freely. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. Marcus nodded. "But now they know. They thought we were powerless. And we had a deadly surprise," Maria finished. 1 week after Chicago's liberation, the pattern repeated across the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, New York. City after city broadcast Bach's music, and city after city was freed from Dominion control. Humanity had found its weapon, and nothing could stop its spread. In the Chicago Command Center, now moved to an above-ground building that once housed a radio station, Jack, Marcus, Anna, and Maria gathered around a global map. Green lights showed liberated cities, while red indicated areas still under Dominion control. "Most major population centers are free," Marcus said, "but the Dominion still holds their main headquarters here." He pointed to a massive complex outside of Denver. "That's where they're coordinating from," Jack said. "And according to the intel we gathered, they've set up some kind of defense against our neural weapon there." Anna studied the satellite images of the facility. "They've built jamming towers around the perimeter. Our broadcast won't reach inside." "Then we need to get inside," Maria said simply. "A team with amplifiers, right in their command center." Jack nodded slowly. "A direct attack on their headquarters. They won't be expecting that." "It's suicide," Marcus warned. "Not if we all go," Jack replied. "Not if we bring everything we have." High above Earth, the Dominion Fleet Commander Zan reviewed the catastrophic reports from the surface. In less than 2 weeks, their entire operation had collapsed. Processing centers destroyed, ships grounded, soldiers dead. How could this happen? He demanded of the few surviving officers who had escaped to orbit. How could primitive humans defeat our technology? No one had a satisfying answer. Their initial scans of Earth had shown humans to be technologically inferior, biologically compatible for harvesting, and militarily weak. Nothing had suggested they could develop a weapon that attacked the very foundation of Dominion technology and biology. The emergency signal from Acting Commander Loran mentioned a neural attack, one science officer said. Something about human brain patterns being weaponized. Zan made his decision. "Prepare the cleansing protocol. If we cannot harvest this world, we will sterilize it. Begin bombardment of major population centers immediately." "Sir," his second-in-command said hesitantly, "should we not wait for approval from the homeworld?" "There is no time," Zan snapped. "The humans are spreading their weapon globally. We must act now or lose everything." On Earth, the Resistance's plan came together quickly. Teams from across America converged on Denver, bringing weapons, vehicles, and neural amplifiers. It would be humanity's largest coordinated attack, a direct assault on the heart of the Dominion's Earth operation. Meanwhile, Anna had made another discovery. "We can broadcast the neural disruption signal through the satellites we've recaptured," she explained to the leadership team. "Not just to Earth, but to the Dominion ships in orbit." "Will it reach that far?" Jack asked. "I think so," Anna replied. "Their ships are designed to receive signals from the surface. We can use their own communication network against them." As preparations continued, a Resistance intelligence team intercepted a Dominion transmission. Marcus burst into the planning room, his face grim. "We have a problem. The Dominion ships in orbit are preparing to bombard the planet. They're going to try to wipe us out completely." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Dominion energy weapons could turn cities to ash in seconds. "How long do we have?" Jack asked. "Hours, maybe less," Marcus replied. Jack looked at the assembled team leaders. "Then we move now. We hit their headquarters, take control of their communication array, and broadcast the signal to their orbital fleet before they can fire." No one needed to be told what failure would mean. The Denver complex was massive. A sprawling collection of black structures surrounded by energy barriers and patrolled by Dominion soldiers in protective suits. The jamming towers stood at regular intervals around the perimeter, blocking any attempt to broadcast the neural disruption signal from outside. The resistance attack began at dawn. Hundreds of fighters in commandeered vehicles charged the main gates from all sides. The Dominion forces responded immediately, their energy weapons cutting through the first wave of attackers. But this was just a distraction. While the main force engaged the Dominion soldiers at the gates, smaller teams approached from underground, using old maintenance tunnels that the aliens had deemed too primitive to guard properly. Jack led one of these teams, with Marcus, Maria, and Anna close behind. Each carried a neural amplifier set to maximum power. Their goal was the central communication tower that linked the headquarters to the orbital fleet. "Remember," Jack told his team as they prepared to emerge from the tunnels, "we only need to get close enough for the amplifiers to work. Then we fight our way to the tower." They emerged inside the perimeter, behind the main Dominion defenses. Alarms were already blaring as the frontal assault drew the aliens' attention. "Now," Jack ordered. 20 humans activated their neural amplifiers simultaneously. The effect was immediate. Nearby Dominion soldiers stumbled and fell. Doors that should have been locked slid open. Defense systems shut down. The team raced toward the central tower, encountering surprisingly little resistance. Most of the Dominion forces had been drawn to the gates. "It's working better than we expected," Marcus said as they reached the tower's entrance. "Too well," Maria replied suspiciously. "This feels like a trap." She was right. As they entered the main communication center, they found it heavily guarded by Dominion soldiers in new, thicker protective suits. At the center of the room stood Commander Zan, his tall figure imposing even for a Dominion officer. "Humans," he said, his voice cold. "Did you think we wouldn't adapt to your primitive attack?" Jack raised his amplifier. "Now," he shouted. Nothing happened. The enhanced protective suits were working. Zan laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "Your neural disruption is useless here. And in minutes, our ships will begin the cleansing of your world." "Plan B," Jack said quietly. Anna stepped forward, holding what looked like a small music player. "We thought you might improve your protection," she said to Zan. "So we brought something special." She pressed a button, and powerful speakers hidden in the team's backpacks came to life. The music that filled the room wasn't Batch this time, but something new, a composition Anna had created specifically for this moment, combining frequencies that no protective suit could block. The effect was devastating. The Dominion soldiers dropped their weapons, clutching their heads. Zan fell to his knees, his internal systems failing catastrophically. Anna rushed to the communication console. "Cover me," she shouted as she worked to connect their broadcast system to the Dominion's network. Marcus and the others formed a protective circle around her, firing at any Dominion soldier who still moved. "Hurry," Jack urged. Their ships could start firing any minute. "Almost there," Anna replied, her fingers flying over the alien controls. "Got it." She activated the broadcast. The neural disruption signal, embedded in her special composition, shot upward, transmitted through the Dominion's own communication network directly to their orbital fleet. In space, the Dominion ships were powering up their energy weapons when the signal reached them. One by one, their systems failed. Lights went out. Engines died. Life support systems collapsed. The massive vessels drifted helplessly in orbit, their crews incapacitated or dead. Earth was saved. In the Denver headquarters, Jack stood over the fallen Commander Zan. "You chose the wrong planet to invade," he said. Zan looked up, struggling to breathe as his systems failed. "How?" he gasped. "You were primitive, powerless." "No," Jack replied. "You just didn't understand what true power is. It isn't your weapons or your technology. It's here." He tapped his temple. "In the human mind. The one thing you tried to harvest from us became your downfall." As resistance forces secured the Dominion headquarters, Anna accessed their communication records. They sent a message to their homeworld, she reported, warning them about us. Marcus smiled grimly. Good. Let them know that Earth is off-limits. In the months that followed, humanity rebuilt. The Dominion technology, now harmless without its alien operators, was studied and adapted for human use. The neural amplifier technology that had saved the world was refined for peaceful purposes, accelerating human advancement by decades. Earth established its first interstellar defense network, using repurposed Dominion satellites. They broadcast a simple message to the stars, Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor, followed by a warning in the Dominion language. Earth is protected. Approach at your own risk. The message was clear to any who might think of Earth as an easy target. Humans might look primitive, but appearances can be deceiving. They once thought we were powerless. They will never make that mistake again.